Hey, welcome everybody to the Lone Wolf Show on Roku Television, on Witchcraft TV, on Roku Television. And if you don't have the app, you can go to Roku Television and many household televisions, and you can just like type it in. But also online, we have www.witchcrafttv.online, and that's where we started. But right now, we're worldwide and we're love to have you. And now we're about to interview a very prestigious individual from the Cabot tradition, all the way down in Florida. So without further ado, we're going to have him on right now.
Hello.
How you doing, Brian?
Great. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's a privilege to have you on the station and things. Yeah, I really like what I've heard and everything. One of my favorite crones of the Cabot tradition. Her name is Shundi, and it's great to meet other Cabots in the tradition. And I'm so honored to have you on Witchcraft TV.
I found that here in Florida, there's very few of us in Florida.
Wow. You mean Cabots or just witches in general?
Cabots. Oh, plenty of witches. You throw a stone in Central Florida, hitting a witch.
Right. So I mean, how's the weather down there? I mean,
today was 104.
100.
Beautiful,
yeah,
sunny, and thank God today was a little breezy, so no humidity.
Yeah.
We live in Beverly Hills, Florida, towards the West Coast, so we get that breeze once in a while from the Gulf.
So tell me, I mean, how did you come to your spirituality, and like, how did you end up in Florida?
Getting older, tired of the winters. My bones can't handle the cold winters. I miss New England in the fall. I miss the spring, but I don't miss the winters. I do miss, though, in Circle, I do miss collecting the first snowfall and the last snowfall. It's very magical.
Right.
So I have people mail it down to me. I'm bougie.
You're bougie. So let's go. You was telling me that you were trying to start a witch shop in Florida and a bar and everything. How's that going out for you?
I owned a witch shop in Middleborough, Mass. Quite a few years ago, my ex, and was very successful. And then down here, me and my husband are trying to open one down here, as well as a gay drag bar as well. I'm also a drag queen on the side. And both we're trying to see which opens first, but ultimately you can open both.
When you say an open book, I mean, what exactly does that mean? What does an open book mean?
No, open a bar.
That's really cool. So
drag bar.
When the bar is
because down here, a lot of the gay bars are closing. And there's less places for the drag queens and entertainers and DJs and employees to work at. So we thought, maybe we'll fill in that niche because up in New England, we also owned a gay bar as well called Mama's Cabaret.
So, I mean, I really don't like to get political on Witchcraft TV because ultimately I want everybody to watch Witchcraft TV.
Yeah.
But do you think like a Republican state is less receptive to an open-minded like gay bar like that?
Before I thought about doing it, we've been here going on 8 years, and when we first moved down here 8 years ago, I would have said yes. However, as we're being attacked, all my drag shows, and I do readings at stores like Karma Cottage here in Crystal River, Fairy Dust Crystals in Bellevue, and I get protested and picketed because I'm a witch. Which and they go back and forth to my drag shows to my readings. It's kind of hysterical. But recently, in the past 2 years, as much hate I get online, I'm noticing a bigger trend and pendulum swing of supporters. So the more they protest us, the more people are coming out
Right.
to support.
That's unfortunate. And do you feel like the political shifting in the country has a lot to do with the trajectory of Wiccan and witchcraft, or just witchcraft in general, or pagan traditions? Do you
I'd say
think that has a big? Yeah.
I say witchcraft in general. Witchcraft is one of the fastest growing religions in the world, has been since God, 80s, 90s.
Right.
It's just growing, growing, growing. And I think what's happening is a lot of the older generations, sounds horrible to say this, especially in the government and stuff like that, it's starting to die out. To bring in new thoughts, to bring in new blood, to bring in new ideas, modern ideas is coming.
Right.
I'm very optimistic.
Well, I think optimistic is good. Yeah.
But I'm not.
Do
I'm
you,
not blind.
right.
I'm not blinded.
Do you feel that politics has invaded what earth-based spirituality really has to offer mankind?
Oh, totally, 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 totally. I hear in Florida that they're restricting national parks where a lot of us do circles. We do our circles out front in my very front yard, in my neighborhood. I don't hide it. I mean, I'm a New Englander through and through. We don't hide it, and I'm very vocal, even down here. We do our circles, our ceremonies right in the front yard as cars go by, and support and beep and wave, take pictures, videos, and we welcome it. And on Halloween night, Samhain, what we do here is we give out the kids candy, and we're in a very huge, we go through, I'd say about 15, 20 bags of candy. That's how many kids come here. And we give consenting adults a shot of Fireball, and we give the kids candy, and it worked. They call us the Witch House. People on the was that neighborhood app thing is saying somebody bashed us, and I heard there's a witch in our neighborhood. We should get rid of them. And all these people jumped up and started defending us, saying, "No, they're the witch house. I'd rather live in this street because there's no crime. Because everybody's afraid the witch is cursing them. So there's no crime." And the cops enjoy us. I mean, we have a very good community of a mixed match where we live, and we're blessed. Again, I've always been that kind of person that I don't hide. I don't go in the shadows. I want to be visual. And I learned that from a lot of amazing teachers, including Lori Cabot, not to go out. And my coven members, when they met me, and they're from Central Florida, were skittish and scared to even be outside. And now they're outside doing circle with me, having a blast, realizing I'm making them feel that this is normal. This is a norm. This is the way they should feel. They should feel safe. They should feel proud. They should feel secure in their worship and their doings.
So tell me, Brian, do you think it's better for our particular community to educate the Cowan, or I hate to say Muggle, but it's such a word.
Yeah.
Do you think it's better to educate the masses about contemporary witchcraft during Samhain?
I do. I do to a certain degree. I teach classes. I teach hermetics. I teach everything, and I teach in my coven. I founded my coven, the Enchanted Circle of Light, in 1985, and and I have other sister covens I've given out that I've opened from our high priestesses. My own tradition is a little different than most traditions. We have about five main degrees, and the sixth one is croning and eldership. But we have 5 major degrees, not just 2 or 3. And what we do is I teach classes, and when students come into me, a lot of people are taking the classes because their 16-year-old son or daughter is interested in witchcraft. So the parents are coming out, which I find it awesome, to take 101 to get an idea what their kid is getting into. And I've never heard or had any complaints.
So as far as like Gardnerians and Alexandrians, and we have the Cabot tradition, and I will say the Cabot tradition is very secretive. And the Cabot
Yes.
tradition is very based on like the Scientology precepts of humanity. Do you feel that, I mean, what do you think is the trajectory of witchcraft in the country?
My coven is Cabot background and my family tradition background. Both are secretive, both with the very, both is tight-lipped. However, there's a need for that, though. It's a need because once you open up things, we start losing our own identity as a coven. We start losing, and as a tradition, we start losing. Others start bringing our stuff into their stuff and putting their name on it and a stamp. I feel that trajectory of witchcraft is going to be, it's heading more towards, I see these groups. I was watching your show quite a bit, and watching some interviews on your channel with you and others, and also my own research. I started noticing in the last couple of years that more and more groups are getting committees. I hope we're not headed towards organized style of paganism, Wicca, witchcraft. I don't consider myself a Wiccan. I don't consider myself a pagan. I am a witch. And I don't sugarcoat that word. I don't sugarcoat it. I use that word. I know a lot of witches don't like that word. But the word's coming back. The word is being reclaimed. But I don't want to see our traditions and our spiritual paths becoming like the Catholic Church.
Right.
But as long as we can we keep our identities, I want to see this grow. I want to see this grow from coast to coast, north to south. And what you're doing is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I did not think I would still be alive with breath in my lungs to see a witchcraft channel dedicated to witches and the public on a public forum and a public TV.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of like discrepancies and things with that and everything, and I love to like digest that and everything. But you know, as an interviewer, I really don't want to talk about that. I really talk about your work in the craft and things. In Florida, is there a large LGBTQ community that is part of the craft?
Yes, there's a lot of it in the big, huge LGBT community, period, in Southern Florida, as well as the magical community as well, being the LGBTQ. But over the last few years, more and more are moving to Central Florida, where it's cheaper to live. So I'm noticing an influx where we live of a lot of LGBTQ plus spiritual, magical people growing in this area of all ages. I mean, I had somebody come into the store, Karma Cottage, Crystal River, come in. He was 92, a gay man and a druid. And he was so excited to see another male witch in the area.
So do you think that there's still like a situation where in contemporary witchcraft where it's still new for male witches to be present?
I would say in Florida, yes, definitely in Florida. You go further north, especially northeast. I can't speak for the West Coast. I only speak for the East Coast. In Salem, I mean, male, female. I couldn't see more of a balance. Down here, it's very female dominated, but more and more males are becoming priesthood, which is nice to see. It should be a nice balance.
So in the craft itself, are you a high priest or a high priestess, and what do you identify as?
Okay, so for many, many years, it was just me. I play high priest, high priestess. However, recently, I'm so excited about this. I just dedicated 3 new high priestesses in my coven. I had to wait till they went through all the degrees up to 5th degree, which took them quite a few years. Usually, a lot of the ladies I had in the past didn't want to wait 4 or 5 years. You know what I mean? They wanted it now. I've had some people offer me extra money just to make them a high priestess. I'm like, no, it's not how it works. But I just dedicated 3 of them. And now my coven has 3 high priestesses, 1 high priest, and now I'm training another male in the direction of priesthood as well, to get more balance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's working out beautifully.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's less on my shoulders too.
So, did you physically train? Did you train with Lori Cabot in her infrastructure in Salem?
Yes, for many, many years.
For many, many years. And
yes.
do you have contact with Christopher Penzak? Do you have contact with her other students?
Chris, I message once in a while. We talk once in a while on Facebook. And a lot of them, over the years, I noticed a lot of us as older generation are coming to age are, hyper focusing on our families and our covens, our own covens. Christopher spends a lot of time on his temple, which is that is absolutely incredible what he's doing. I can't tell you how proud I am of somebody like that doing what he's doing.
Right.
And more and more, a lot more and more in modern day, I'm starting to do the same thing too.
Right. So a more controversial question I'll have is, I'm out in Ohio, and Raymond Buckland brought Wicca to America, originally and things. And I know that stems from like a lot of, different kind of an Irish stem and things, but it comes like Gardnerians and things, from the West Coast and the East Coast. They have this really big discrepancy on, who can be high priestess and who can't. And it was kind of like, a learning curve for the trajectory of witchcraft. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, because earlier today on your channel, I just saw the Sally Jesse Raphael for like the 3rd time since it came out in the 80s, 86 or 87 it was. And it had Buckland, Cunningham, and a few others on there, authors, and listening to them talk brought back a flood of memories. They were the pioneers that brought something magical to the States. And then happily, look at it this way, what they brought, all these early authors, what they brought in that time frame, is the baby of the craft in America's soil. And like any child that you give birth to, you want to see it grow and become its own identity. And since those time frames, since the 80s, since all this, the craft has really got its own personality. So many different traditions, so many different covens, styles.
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing to watch. When I do my classes, I'm always almost guaranteed at least one student's going to ask, what is your tradition the right tradition, the only tradition? And I always tell them this: there's no such thing as the only and the best tradition. It all depends what you are seeking at that moment in your life, and what works with you.
Right, that makes sense.
And when I teach hermetics, I watch their students teaching 101, 102 is magic. When I get to 103, I love to watch their eyes open. I teach them hermetics, quantum physics, and just to watch these students learn that, wow, science actually agrees with us now in a lot of things, quantum science. I remind them that quantum physics back in the 80s and 90s wasn't even taken seriously by the scientific community. Now it's the major science.
I mean, I can definitely resonate with that, particularly with the Cabot tradition, with the science that is intermingled with the craft itself. And I think that's a lot that's really overlooked in things. What would be your advice to a younger witch, non-binary or male or female, and they just happen on the path and they just, what would be your advice to them?
First of all, before you go to a teacher, research that teacher. Make sure you're not bringing every spiritual path around the world. There's good and there's bad. There's bad teachers they'll prey on you in any religion. But research your teachers, research what you're getting into, and take different classes, take different workshops in your area, online or physical, and just play. Play until you find your footing. Play until you find what resonates with you and vibrates with you internally. And don't be worried if 10 years from now you're changing direction. It's okay. That's the beauty of the craft. You can do that.
How much do you think business has an impact in what contemporary witchcraft does? Because a lot of people in the craft that have big voices, they have shops, they have big schools, and they have like particular impact.
I think, well, back when I was younger, very young, with Lori, you couldn't go anywhere and just buy a pentacle or anything for your altar that wasn't already something in the household that you transformed yourself into something magical. So the witch shops back then were very, very, very important, because the places you can go and see and meet and see others like yourself. But nowadays, I think a lot of the craft is getting too commercialized. I think you can go in Temu and get, for $2 a bag of pentacles. And I go to the craft fairs, I go to the oddity markets, and it's a double-edged sword. I'm excited things are more accessible to everybody. It's easier than it was in my day, and non-existent in Lori's day. But at the same time, there's a point where it starts becoming almost watered down. The importance of going out and getting your materials is not as a journey as it used to be. I miss that.
Yeah, I think the watering down thing is definitely an issue, so to speak. So, I mean, on a personal level, even though we're live and we're public, and I always have to watch my tongue and things, I feel like Florida may be a little bit more difficult to practice the craft more openly because of such a, I hate to get Republican or Democrat, because ultimately I want everybody to watch the station, but I just feel like, maybe enough is enough. And
it is. When I first moved down here 8 years ago, I was like, I'll keep to myself. I kept my gayness, my drag, my spiritual path, my covenant to myself. However, it then came to a certain point about 5-6 years ago where I was like, something? I am perpetuating this problem. I'm not being a solution. In a very small way, at least for my covenanters or people I speak to, I wear my pentacle out in public. I wear my jewelry out in public. I wear my rainbows once in a while. When we go to Disney or other places, my scooter is all rainbowed out. Me and my husband wear rainbow jerseys. We don't hide who we are, and I refuse to ever again. And it's working on my covenanters, because a lot of them, when they first come in, they're so skittish. I get beaten down dog, and then after a year or so, they are so doing the same thing. They're standing up for themselves. They're educating without fear. And I tell them, you don't have to be like me. Just be yourself, and you know your own safety. But my job, I feel right now, at this point in my life, is to stand out and be seen.
Right.
And whatever that entails.
Right. Yeah, I think it's just everything is in a perpetual state of motion, and
yes, everything moves.
Right. What would be your advice to, a witch in a Republican state that are just so far extremist and there's no equality in things? What would be your advice to them?
Well, again, it says a double-edged sword. One side of me says, if you don't feel safe in your community, stay safe. It's nobody's business but yours. But number two, the other side of me says, speak out, be seen, be known. Because the more the more we're seen, the more we're known, we begin to numb the public's mind in a sense. It becomes a norm, a new norm. And seeing us, and walking down the street and shopping in the mall, shopping at a grocery store, in our robes, with that jewelry on, our pentacles, let it get to the point where it becomes a new norm.
It's really good advice. And so, as I did my research and things, like I've noticed that like you're kind of popular with it, like the drag scene situation. And
Yes.
I've been to like award shows and like big pagan gatherings where, there'll be like mini drag shows like in the middle of the whole thing, and they'll like parade around and things, and it's really cool. Like I don't have a problem with it at all. But do you have any like shows or gigs or anything that's coming up that that you're going to be there and things? And
I got a show this Saturday. It's our gay pride show at a bar called Canna Bakery in Inverness, Florida. No cover charge, adult show only, 21 plus. And it's a cannabis bakery where food and drinks are infused with THC, not CBD, and free alcohol. You can't beat that mix.
THC is kind of better than the CBD, right?
Yes, stronger. But another thing you mentioned earlier, I wanted to bring up, I forgot to mention. You mentioned about the how things have changed here in Florida. I will definitely say in the most recent couple of years, we're seeing a big, huge influx of more oddity markets, which attract the magical population as vendors and as buyers. We're seeing more and more stores open up. We're seeing more and more psychic fairs. The Karma Cottage does a psychic fair all through the winter. We have our friend Noreen of Spirits Row does it at a haunted train depot, every few months. And they're very successful, which means there is a demand for it in the modern day right now. And the people coming to these events, these psychic fairs, are Mary and Joe next door, coming to see what this is all about. There's a safe way for them to come to a store, I guess, a safe way to meet a witch without being weird feeling or psychic.
So as far as like Florida goes, if you were a pagan or a witch and you're coming down to Florida and you're like trying to get sun and it's, it's cold, or you just want a vacation, what do you think in Florida itself is the most friendly, pagan, witchy, town to go to?
Okay, so definitely Southern Florida. It's a very big gay community. Was attracting the magical communities of all genders, all identifications, and spiritual paths. But Central Florida, though, I got a sneaky feeling, it's in my gut, that's going to be the next up and coming area for the LGBTQ and for the magical community, especially because the older ideas, the older generation is slowly slipping away, and the old values, the old rules, the golden rules back in the olden days are starting to slip away because more Northerners are moving down south, bringing with them Northern attitudes to things, which is more open compared to a lot of the South. But also want to get it out there too. I've also met a lot of people born and raised in the South, born and raised in Florida even, that vibrate with us. They're younger, they're growing, and they're expanding, and they have new views. They want more in their state. They want more inclusion and see more of this, and it's working. So Florida is actually, I would honestly say, we have a bad rap right now, but it's going to have a good outcome. Just give it another couple of years. It's growing up.
Yeah, that's really cool. So if you're a witcher and you're a pagan, I mean, you heard it right here on Witchcraft TV. If you're in Florida, I mean, the 305 is the right place to go. So that's really good information.
And also near a house, about 15 minutes away, there's a saltwater beach called Pine Island, and they used to do it once a month, a drum circle of anybody wants a drum. and attracted a lot of magical people, but everybody just dressed in street clothes and shorts. I show up in my robes, in my coven too. And now they all do. And usually once a month, that's what they thought the community would handle, the basic beach community. Now they're doing it every Sunday at sundown. And the people in the beaches, the people who are visitors and tourists love it. I mean, like, oh, witches and drum circles and people dancing in a circle and people having fun but the locals who first started going there in my robes would actually hide their children's eyes from me, afraid they're going to become evil. Now instead, the youth and the parents are coming up to us asking us questions, and I don't mean bad questions. I mean legitimate questions.
Right.
And I think everybody of the magical path, when opportunity arises safely, should try to educate.
Yes. I think everybody on a magical path should be opportunists. I definitely agree.
Take that moment. Take that moment.
My last question for you, Reverend High Priest Brian, is what would be your advice to all witches of humanity? What would be your advice to them?
Oh my God.
Today's earth climate, political climate, any climate, like what would be the advice you
I would say spread the word of the goddess and the god. Spread the word of our ancestors, of our teachers. Stand up for all those who were persecuted in the past for being a witch or accused of a witchcraft, but not even witch at all. This is an opportunity to make history in this country. We have a chance to make history, and we all around the world should take this opportunity to make a change in the entire planet. And that means going green. That means, as much green as you can, in realistic terms, but to be the best version of ourselves we possibly can be, and be a role model for younger witches and the community.
I really like that. I really love the highest ideal teaching and things. Yeah. Blessed is you, Brian. Thank you so much for coming on Witchcraft
Still more to
TV.
be, baby. And anytime you want me back, I'm always available. Have broom will travel.
Thank you so much.
Okay.